Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're jumping into a book that's really made waves for anyone trying to, focus in this crazy, noisy world.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We're talking about Cal Newport's book from 2016, Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World.
It's a fascinating read, really.
Yeah.
Kind of sits across productivity, psychology, self-help, even business, I'd say.
Absolutely. And it's about 300 pages, give or take.
Yeah, around there. It's pretty thorough, gives you a solid framework for, well, reclaiming your attention.
Right. So our mission today is basically to unpack his big idea. Why this deep focus kind of work is getting, super valuable, but also super rare.
Exactly. And, crucially, how we can actually start doing it.
Okay, let's get into it then. Newport's core idea, it really hits you, doesn't it? He says, and I'm quoting loosely here, that the ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare.
At exactly the same time, it is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy.
Yeah. And the payoff, he says, those who cultivate this skill will thrive. What jumps out at you about that?
Well, it sets the stakes so high, right? This isn't just, be more productive.
No.
He's saying this is a fundamental economic shift. And then he gets specific about what deep work actually is.
Yeah. How does he define it?
He calls it professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit.
Yeah.
When you're just in it.
Totally lost in it. Yeah. And he contrasts that pretty sharply with something else, doesn't he?
He does. He talks about shallow work.
Okay, and what's that?
That's the stuff that's non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style tasks, often performed while distracted. Think like endless emails, quick admin things.
Constantly checking your phone.
Exactly.
No.
Stuff that, he argues, doesn't create much new value and is, frankly, easy for someone else to do. It fills the day but doesn't move the needle.
That distinction feels really important. So Newport makes this case for the value of deep work. Why does he think it's becoming so essential now?
Well, his argument is basically that in this knowledge economy, the people who win are the ones who can, 1, learn complex things quickly, and 2, produce high-quality work, consistently.
Okay.
And deep work is the engine for both of those. He says the bottleneck isn't information anymore. We're swimming in it.
Right.
It's the ability to process it deeply, to create something new from it, to really master hard stuff fast. That's what makes you stand out.
Okay, so if it's so valuable, why is it also getting rarer? He talks about this shallow culture.
Yeah, exactly. He basically says our environment is, perfectly engineered for distraction now.
Oh, so?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Instant messaging, demanding instant replies, Slack channels blowing up, social media feeds, open offices.
Meetings about meetings.
Right. The whole always-on culture. It all just chips away at our ability to concentrate for any length of time. We're basically training ourselves to be interrupted.
Which makes focusing deeply feel like a superpower.
Pretty much.
And it's interesting, he doesn't just frame it in terms of, professional output or getting ahead. He talks about meaning, too.
He does, yeah. There's this psychological angle. He points to research on flow states.
Yeah.
That feeling of being completely absorbed.
Yeah, losing track of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People report feeling really satisfied, even happy, when they're deeply engaged like that. So it's not just about output. It's about finding real, genuine satisfaction in the work itself.
Which kind of leads us perfectly into the second part of the book, right? The rules. This is where he gets practical.
Yeah, this is the how-to. He gives us 4 main rules to actually build deep work into our lives.
Okay, so how do we do it? What's rule number 1?
Rule 1 is simply work deeply. Sounds obvious, maybe?
A little, yeah.
But his point is you can't just hope it happens. You have to design for it. Build systems, rituals.
Like what kinds of systems?
Like deciding where you'll do deep work, when you'll do it, setting clear goals for those sessions, making it a non-negotiable routine. He talks about creating a monastic approach sometimes, really walling yourself off.
He uses examples, right? Like that author, Neil Stephenson.
Yeah, Stephenson famously just avoids email, avoids speaking gigs to protect his writing time. It's an extreme example, maybe.
But the point is...
The point is intentionality. You have to be ruthless about protecting your focus. Newport suggests practical things, too, like time blocking your entire day.
Every hour.
Yeah, or at least planning it out. Turning off notifications, obviously. Maybe even blocking certain websites during work blocks. Setting clear rules for yourself, like no email between 9 and 11.
Okay, that makes sense. Then there's rule 2, embrace boredom. That sounds, boring and counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it? but it's actually really key.
Yeah.
His idea is that you don't strengthen your focus by constantly giving in to little distractions.
Mm.
You strengthen it by resisting them. Focus is like a muscle. If you keep interrupting it with little dopamine hits from your phone or email, it gets weak.
So you need to like exercise the boredom muscle.
Kinda, yeah. It's like cognitive fitness training. By not constantly reaching for stimulation, you rebuild your ability to sustain attention, even when things aren't super exciting. Most people, he implies, can barely handle a few minutes without checking something.
That's worryingly true. So how do we actually practice embracing boredom?
He suggests things like scheduling specific times to check email or social media instead of reacting instantly. Don't check your phone while waiting in line, for instance.
Ouch.
And he has this idea of productive meditation, like when you're walking or commuting, instead of zoning out with music or podcasts, try to actively think through a specific work problem.
Interesting. So you're training your brain to focus without needing constant input.
Exactly. Resisting the urge to fill every empty moment.
Okay, rule 3. Quit social media. Now that's going to get some reactions. Is he really saying everyone should just delete their accounts?
No, not necessarily total deletion for everyone. He calls it the craftsman approach to tool selection.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means you ask yourself, really honestly, does this specific tool, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, offer a significant core benefit to something I deeply value in my professional or personal life?
And if the answer is meh,
Then you should seriously consider getting rid of it or drastically reducing how you use it. It's about being really intentional, not just using these things because, well, everyone else does.
he suggests a trial period, right? A 30-day fast?
Yep. Take 30 days off a specific platform.
Huh.
Afterwards, ask yourself, was my life noticeably worse without it? Did anyone actually care that I wasn't there? If not,
Then maybe you don't need it as much as you thought.
precisely. He challenges that FOMO, that fear of missing out, and argues for using only the tools that give you a really high return on your time and attention.
Okay, that's a useful framework. Finally, rule 4. Drain the shallows. This feels like the daily grind for a lot of us. How do we tackle all that busy work?
Yeah, this is about actively minimizing those low-value, shallow tasks. Again, he suggests scheduling every minute of your day,
Even breaks.
even breaks and shallow work blocks. The goal is to become hyper-aware of where your time actually goes. If you don't schedule the deep work, the shallow stuff will just expand to fill everything.
Makes sense.
He also talks about quantifying the depth of activities, being really strict with email, maybe using templates, batching replies, being clear about your response times,
And saying no.
and learning to say no much more often to requests that don't align with your deep work goals. Protecting those focus blocks is paramount, especially, he suggests, in the morning.
And Newport himself practices this, right? Even as a professor.
Yeah, apparently he's known for finishing his workday relatively early, like 5 or 5:30, but being incredibly productive within those hours because he's ruthless about minimizing the shallow stuff.
So it really drives home that point again. Just being busy doesn't mean you're being productive.
Exactly. He argues the real game isn't time management anymore, it's attention management. Cut out the shallows to make space for the deep.
Okay. So, pulling this all together, what's the big takeaway message from Newport?
I think the central idea is that deep work isn't just a way to get ahead professionally, though it certainly is that. It's also a route to more meaning and satisfaction in your work and life.
Right. It's both an edge and fulfillment.
Yeah. And that mastering focus is becoming like the critical skill for thriving in this economy. Busyness is not the goal. Deep, valuable output is.
It's a really compelling argument, but like any framework, it probably has its limits or criticisms, right? What came up as you looked at reactions to the book?
Yeah, definitely. Some people point out that, suggestions like total isolation just aren't practical for everyone. Think about roles that are inherently reactive customer service, managers who need to be available for their teams.
Right. You can't just build a fortress around yourself.
Exactly. And, it's fair to say Newport's own situation as a tenured professor gives him a level of control over his schedule that many people just don't have.
That's a good point. Anything else?
Well, some argue the core ideas could probably be boiled down quite a bit.
Right.
Maybe didn't need 300 pages. And it doesn't delve much into things like emotional labor or the kind of creativity that happens through collaboration and teamwork, which is huge in many fields.
Yeah, those are valid points. Which leads to a question for everyone listening, really.
Right.
Thinking about these rules, these powerful ideas, but also keeping those limitations in mind. how could you, in your specific job, your specific life, maybe adapt some of this?
Yeah, what parts resonate? What parts might need tweaking for your reality?
And maybe taking a step back, if Newport's right, if deep work is becoming the truly valuable skill, what's our responsibility here?
You mean beyond just our own careers?
Yeah, like do we have a collective responsibility to cultivate this kind of focus, not just for ourselves, but for tackling the big, complex problems the world is facing? Do we need more deep thinking capacity overall?
That's a really interesting question to chew on. What kind of future are we building if we lose the ability to focus deeply?
Definitely something to think about.
Uh,
Well, if this deep dive got you thinking, please do share it with someone else who might find it useful.
and yeah, subscribe if you want to catch our future explorations.
Thanks for joining us.